It's the Christmasing 2, day 5.
This is like a Dragon Ball or something,
Or
like a Shurioken or whatever.
It just
Hadouken!
The thing is that I don't know if you can see, but our couch is made of pleather. Actually, it might even be real. No, I don't think it's actually real leather, but it's really hard to like keep those up on the back without, hey, put it back on, without them falling on us. So today it's just an orb. I got those at Tesco. They're LEDs and they're powered by 3 AAA batteries or AA batteries. Take it away now. All right, there you go. So that can just be your magical orb to play with. So as I promised, we watched a Rankin Bass production. Now I have to confess it. Stop it. This isn't one of the ones that I had on VHS, so I haven't seen this probably in over 30 years. This was Santa Claus is Coming to Town with the voice talents of Fred Astaire and Mickey Rooney.
And Paul Frees.
And Paul Frees, the man of 1,000 voices.
One of those voices sounds like Mel Blanc.
No, he was a contemporary of Mel Blanc.
I was making a joke, because he's also called the man of 1,000 voices. You ruined it.
I quoted right from the Wikipedia article.
Someone with an interest in 1940s voice actors going like, oh, Hagan.
That's true, we probably do have a fan like that. Hagan's not pleased with me. She kept making faces. If it gets in your eyes again, it's your own fault.
I just look like I want to fuck 790 and Lex in the episode Love Liner. The guy, sort of schleppy, covered himself in like, lights and, screwed 790. Lex is fucking awesome.
Just like in the Bible. But yeah, so this is another one of the Raspankin Santa Claus origin stories.
Raspankin.
It's so hard because I want to say Bass Rankin, but it is Rankin Bass, but anyway.
Oh, look at the guy, you can't see it, but there's a guy here, executive in charge, Eric Ellenbogen. That's a brilliant name.
Bogan is a word that means redneck in Australia.
Yeah, sort of chavvy.
Bogan. But so this is Santa Claus is Coming to Town with the voice talents of Fred Astaire, who when I was talking about it earlier, and I was like, oh, the one that we're going to watch today. For some reason, I was thinking about Frank Sinatra, and so I said, yes, legendary narcissist and womanizer Fred Astaire, but I was like, oh wait, no, I meant Frank Sinatra.
That's a Sinatra.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is not as good of a Santa Claus origin story as The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, which we did actually. That was the Christmas Eve or Christmas Day one from the original Christmasing.
The only canon true origin for Santa Claus is clearly Santa Claus the movie.
Is that
the only one I recognize.
Glenn Beck did, where?
No. That's Santa Barbarian. I don't think that's actually been released.
Oh.
Santa Claus the movie is the one where it's like this elderly toy maker and his wife are going through the winds to give people presents, but they get caught in a snowdrift and the elves rescue them, and it's fucking amazing. Dudley Moore's in it. John Lithgow's the villain.
Oh, cool. But yeah, so basically,
it's the canon Santa Claus movie, and I will fight you on this.
I'm fine with that. So yeah, so basically, there's a baby that's left out in a German town, and so let me just spoil this a little teeny bit because there's a lot of anti-German sentiment. There's a lot of it
is a bit xenophobic.
Not even comedy, but just like there's this guy Meisterburger, who's the mayor of this town, and he has a very thick German accent, and he wears lederhosen.
His name does not make sense. If he's the Burgermeister, Meister means master or mister. So Burgermeister, Mr. Burger, the title is incoherent.
Honey, he's obviously German McGerman sausage.
He's basically Stephen Fry in The Hobbit.
Foreign! He is a foreigner! Americans. Yeah, because everyone has American accents, and the love interest, her name is Jessica.
Yeah, all the good Germans have American accents, all the bad ones are German.
They do, actually.
Bit xenophobic there,
all of his soldiers, though, have World War I type German helmets with the point on the top, but they are armed with spears, not muskets or guns or anything. Yeah, it's very anachronistic.
And they have visions of a medieval king who's brilliantly anachronistic because he's wearing medieval king gear, but he's got Victorian facial hair, and he's got 1700s, 1600s glasses. But then later on, one of the fucking kids, that's his dad. His dad was a medieval king.
Maybe the Burgermeister family deposed the king, and that's the king's son.
Or possibly they stole the creativity from the town because it was all grey.
Yeah, because everyone had horrible vitamin deficiencies, because all the children were grey.
It was Tim Burtonville.
So basically, he's the baby Santa Claus is left and to be raised by the Burgermeister. And the person says, just keep him away from like the Whispering Wind Mountain. And your man's like, no, I hate children. Quickly, give him to the orphan asylum. It's called the orphan asylum.
Yep.
And so the soldier is taking him out, but then the wind blows him away up towards the mountain he's not supposed to be on, where the evil ice wizard is. I'm sorry, the winter wizard. But the woodland animals rescue him and bring him to this little valley where the elf family lives. But the elves are all old men, except for like the queen, who is called Tanta, which sounds like all of the words that mean aunt in various romance languages. But it implies that, like, she's the only one who can get pregnant? Did, like, they all take turns knocking her up? I have so many questions.
All the elves, they don't have pointed ears. They're only a bit shorter than regular.
They're just, like, small little, and they'll wear Santa Claus
Santa Claus outfits. So that's their national dress.
And they're like, we love babies. And like, when have you ever seen a baby, though?
They got giant white beards. It's like...
Is it like the Smurfs, how there's, like, the stork delivers one baby Smurf every 100 years?
I don't know.
That's actually canon. But so then he, kind of like Link, he grows up amongst the forest people, of which he is not one. And then they're all toy makers because they used to work for the king of the land, which surprisingly never comes up. Like, they keep saying, oh, the royal toy makers to the king, but, like, everyone owes fealty to, like, the mayor of this one town. And some of the townspeople dress like it is Victorian London. And so because this was a co-production with the Japanese company Animagic, Rankin Bass worked a lot with Japanese animation and production companies. We have this theory that it's one of those things where, like, you know, the Japanese were just like, oh, European things, let's put them all together. The way that we just kind of, like, lump, like, Asian and East Asian stuff just all together.
A good example of this phenomenon, check out Vikingdom.
It's done by Malaysians, and it's like, Stonehenge is on the top of a mountain, like it's like Weathertop.
And Thor is a Celtic hoplite.
Yeah, it's grand. So it's basically like, oh, look at this. It's Viking legend if there's like Celtic knots all over the place. It's just like everything from Europe. They just kind of smooshed it together and called it culture. So that's basically what I think was happening here. So what follows is a very complicated and protracted storyline whereby when Kris Kringle, Klaus, whatever, becomes a man, he's like, oh, well, you know what? All these toys that we make, because I guess it's how we stave off mental illness here.
Yeah, the guys, they're fucking hoarders. They keep making fucking toys and doing nothing with it. You fucking deranged elven fucks. You're not even elves, you're dwarves.
They do look like dwarves. So he's like, I'll take them, like, through the forest to, like, the town that's over the mountain. And so the Winter Witch is like, who so dares? And they run away. And on the way he meets a penguin he calls Topper, and the penguin has a scarf. And remember this, because it will be important later.
I think a fucking penguin, at least they point out that penguins are from the fucking South Pole, not the North Pole. And this is meant to be near the North Pole, and yet they got trees and woodland animals and everything around. It's not like it's not, yeah, okay. He ran into seals.
Shh, we live in an apartment building.
The seal in the first
really fired up, you guys.
The seal came out of the water and it looks like Armus from fucking Skin of Evil, the Next Generation episode where Tasha Yar died, and that's fine. But you got like fucking little squirrels and stuff running around. It's the North Pole. You don't have any trees or woodland animals like that. It's a fucking floating ice sea. There's no solid land.
Well, anyway.
Why is there a town nearby?
So, your man, the Meister, has tripped over a toy, and they said he broke his funny bone, but his leg is in a cast. It just gets weirder from there. So he
can walk on it fine, except when he needs a wheelchair.
He outlaws toys, so all the toys get snatched, and Kris Kringle comes to town, and he finds all the children in monochrome being depressed, doing chores, and having no fun. So he's like, here, I brought you toys. And he has this, like, magical ability to, like, fish out, like, from his pack a toy that, like, the person really, really wants. Because that's when he meets Jessica, who's, like, head of the orphan asylum. And he's like, oh, here, the China doll you always wanted. And she's like, I did. And here's the thing. Young Santa Claus trying to flirt is the creepiest, most rapiest, most stalkerish thing I've ever seen.
I just noticed something. Okay, it's a Japanese co-production.
Mm-hmm.
Both Santa Claus and Jessica are the two main characters of the humans. And, you know, good characters. And they both got red hair.
Yeah, they're ginger.
Japanese things have a tendency to show Westerners, white people, with red hair. because it doesn't exist in Japanese people.
Because I think it's really special.
Yeah, it's like a signifier that they use. Blonde hair or red hair. It's like there's so much of this in the wonderful Japanese puppet show Starfleet that I have this theory that actually there was a human civil war between people with other colored hair, different colors of hair, and the redheads come out pretty well because they're like they're more like a half of the human population.
Well, if you live in Ireland like we do, there are a lot of gingers. So.
We're both ginger. We just make you.
We're actually secretly anime characters. I'm a Bishonen bad guy.
Yeah, both.
I want to reset the world to white. That sounds actually really racist. No, because in Slayer's...
At least I admit I had no idea where my joke was going.
In Slayer's Try...
It could have gone so much worse.
I'm talking. In Slayer's Try, which was the first Slayer series that I saw, there's your standard bishy bad guy who... he was a member of the ancient race of golden dragons. He becomes corrupted by demons, so he's basically a half dragon, half demon.
And yet he's still a Bishonen guy human.
Yeah. Well, no, because he has that whole, I'm a bishy human, but I still have, the one, damaged wing thing going on. And so that's his whole thing. He wants to reset the world to white. And just regrow creation again. Because every anime bad guy just wants to destroy the world because people have fucked up so much.
Or to compress time together.
Yeah, or something like that. Well, that's just in Final Fantasy. But anyway, so he escapes the Meister and he runs out into the forest and he comes into contact with the Winter Wizard. He's like, aha, now I'll fix you. And he's like, quick, let me give you a present. Winter Wizard's like, no one's ever given me a present. He's like, well, here's the train you always wanted, and they're friends. But the thing is, we're watching this, and when the Winter Wizard is being brought around to the side of good, he kind of sounds a bit like the Ice King from Adventure Time. And I made the joke, haha, it's the Ice King from Adventure Time. But then I looked at his design, and I was like, wait a second. He really does look like the Ice King from Adventure Time. And I Googled it, and apparently I'm not the only person that's noticed this.
I didn't notice this, because I've never seen Adventure Time.
I've seen the first 5 seasons.
I spent too much time watching crap movies.
Well, anyway. So, yeah, apparently this is a known thing, and I wondered if Pendleton Ward was influenced by seeing this movie, because it did come out in 1970. So then, the wizard gives Kris Kringle magic abilities, like to see when children are sleeping or awake and good or bad.
Which is dodgy as it sounds.
Yeah, he sees you on the toilet. So then, it follows a bit where, Jessica, brings the letters from the children, and he keeps bringing toys. And then, so, because Kris Kringle because the Burgermeister's like, no, you can't be in the town, he says, okay, tell the children to leave their doors unlocked. So if he found an unlocked door, he knew there would be a child inside, so he would leave toys. So then, your man declared that everyone must lock their windows and doors. So then he snuck in through the chimney. But then they started conducting house-to-house searches, so he told the children to because they had to hang their stockings up by the fire to dry overnight.
Pretty sure stockings were not a gigantic fashion accessory for small children in winter in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm just pretty sure, and the stockings origin is, as from what I've read, in the actual storyline, it was because Saint Nicholas was.
Yeah, and they were wooden shoes. They were wooden clogs.
Yeah, but the stocking thing in the actual origin of in the real thing, Saint Nicholas had a connection with stockings because he's also the patron saint of prostitutes.
Oh my.
I believe
What's he been doing in the forest that Jessica doesn't know about?
I believe the story was Saint Nicholas would sort of put money in their stockings.
So they wouldn't have to turn tricks?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool,
that was his excuse, I assume.
He's a pro-sex kind of guy. Or pro-sex worker, I mean.
I could be wrong about this. This is just me remembering.
Citation needed, so Google it and tell us in the comments.
Please do. I mean, I'm just fucking exhausted, and this is from memory. I could have watched something dodgy when I was, eating, I don't know, when I was drinking too much salmiak. She has salmiak.
I do. No, well, salmiak I have salmiak flavored vodka.
She has salmiak.
Salmiak is the Scandinavian salty licorice, which a lot of people really don't like, but I kind of have a taste for. Our friend Sophie Liv once at Alcon had brought some, and so me and Hagan and Film Brain, she's like, oh, try some. We're like, all right. And we all tried some, and you made a horrific face, and Film Brain turned absolutely red, and I was like, oh, this is horrible. Here, go on, give us another piece.
Yeah, I was like, you were all like laughing at my horrific face, and then mocking me, so I took another piece, even though I hated it, and I still hate it.
Actually really did kind of develop a taste for it, so whenever I go to Amsterdam or Germany or anywhere, that I could get some, I try to.
Yeah, it's
or Flying Tiger, which is a it's a Danish company, isn't it?
Might be.
Yeah, well, there's one in Belfast, and so they have it sometimes.
Yeah, but salmiak is just incredibly strong licorice and incredibly salty, and I hate fucking licorice to begin with.
It kind of has an aftertaste of Windex because there's like a sodium ammonia salt that's involved. Well, anyway, so...
I have chocolate milk.
So anyway, yeah, so he ends up getting arrested, getting caught out, and he's in the dungeon, and then the Winter Wizard for some reason had lost his powers inexplicably, but then, like, he gets thrown in jail as well, and Jessica's like, you must help me, but I can save everyone, but I need your help, and so he gives her some magic corn to feed to the reindeer, and that gives them the ability to fly, and they all bust out of jail.
And I noticed the reindeer, one of the reindeer, I'm surprised I never noticed this before. All the reindeer have horns, yet one of them is called Vixen. So one of those reindeer is a little bit queer. I'm applauding you, whoever wrote that fucking thing years ago.
Actually, nowhere in the poem does it say that they all have antlers. I guess
yeah, but they're depicted as...
I know, we just, like, it's always...
It's like Victorian Christmas cards. Christmas cards going back to Victorian era in the UK quite often feature robins. Mm-hmm. Robin Redbreast, the bird. Now, they quite often have little bits where you get several...
Not Robin the Minion.
Yes. But sometimes they have two Robin Redbreasts, like, you know, in the nest together. You know, being all like a loving couple. Thing is, only male robins have red breasts. The female ones look a little different. So yes, accidental Victorian, you know, gay animal.
Have a gay bird Christmas.
It's like that. It's like when we think of reindeers, we think of antlers. So you give all the antlers, you know, all the reindeers antlers, and then of course, accidentally, you end up with a reindeer with a girl's name.
Life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. But anyway, so then they get declared outlaws, and they kind of have to move further and further from civilization until they just end up, like, living at the North Pole. And then, so this whole thing, this tale is being recounted by this postman, Fred Astaire.
He's, like, driving a tiny little snow... It's
kind of cool, because the front of it is, like, a Model T Ford, but the back of it has, like, tank tread. And then the two front tires are skis.
Well, having seen some designs of early snowmobiles, especially in like the Great White Silence and stuff, that it was before the Model T Ford. But it would not surprise me if in the 30s you actually had something that looked a bit like that.
Okay, that's fair.
Because that's how cars looked in the 30s. Really cool.
But yeah, so then they're like, oh, but what happened to Burgermeister? You know, the bad guy. And they're like, oh, well, the family kind of died out. And it shows his picture falling off the wall of like the town hall, and I'm like. So the main villain conveniently died off screen of not having an heir? Like, because I say the laws of the Burgermeister family, but he's the only member of that family that's ever showed. And, like, the king is just nowhere to...
He wasn't a Burgermeister family, he was the Burger family, because his title was Burgermeister Meister Burger.
Anyway.
So that makes no sense.
So basically, like, now Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, because Chris and Jessica get married.
And somehow they got fat when going to a place where there's no fucking food. North Pole. They started off, they were thin elsewhere, but then they got fat when they got up to the North Pole. So
because they have to rely
with the Inuit.
They have to rely on like on blubber and things.
They were hanging
and whales.
When was the last time you saw a fat Inuit? You know, living subsistence, you know, traditional Inuit style, not like, you know, like a modern day one.
Yeah, but because here's the thing, because it wasn't blubber. See, but they have all those animal friends. The animal friends fetch them nuts and berries and stuff like that.
From hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, they're really well-coordinated wildlife.
I think it's much more likely that the animal friends will feed themselves to the fucking Santa Claus people.
No, but then they run out of animal friends.
They can use fucking magic to make more of them. It's like, oh, come here.
Well, wait a minute.
Come here, Charlie Rabbit. And then, of course, then you shit it out and then it gets resurrected.
No, the Winter Wizard gets his magic back. So he could just magic them up sweets. And that's why they're fat, because all they eat is sweets. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Like,
and they're doing a lot of exercise, too, making all these fucking toys and doing all this shit.
No, the elves do the toys.
Yeah, but he's working on it, too.
So he's quite exhausted because they're both old now.
Yeah, because...
And immortal, apparently. And then so he's like, oh, I'm going to have to cut down to once a year. And she's like, well, how you decide?
This is why I prefer Christmas. This is why I prefer Santa Claus the movie, where it's rational. You know, you got sweets that if you eat too much, you fly off into space, like John Lithgow did. Santa Claus movie is awesome.
I remember because I saw it when I was little. That's one part that I remember is the lollipops.
No!
But yeah. So and then it just kind of ends though. And it ends with a rendition of Fred Astaire singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Like, with all those, like, obscure verses that you never hear.
Fuck you, Santa Claus.
And she made this really great face. It's fantastic. You guys missed it.
Yeah, I put the blanket over my head and
next year it should just be, like, Hagan reacts to the Christmas thing. We should be fucking filming these, because, like, the one for Mall and the Night Visitors, there was lots of jokes. They were just on point. It was like Mr. Science Theater opera.
This is true. I mean, we weren't taking notes or anything, so they're gone like dust in the wind, dude.
In the mountain of windy wind. Or winter wind? Something like that.
I put the blanket over my head and created myself a 2001 type, Stargate effect, just with the fucking blanket. Well, the good news
is we only have 2 more Rankin Bass ones left in the Christmas thing.
Yeah, we got like 7 more things.
No, we don't.
Is it like 7? There's 13 overall.
There's 12.
Loading. Okay. There's we're on 5 or 6.
We're on 5.
So there is 7 left.
Oh right. For some reason I thought we were on 6.
Celebration. I was correct. Celebration.
She has to. She's so infrequently correct that she has to celebrate. It's a momentous occasion.
I was correct.
Mark this on your calendars.
I can't see.
It's your own fault. So I'll pick one that you might be more pleasantly disposed to for tomorrow. How's that?
I find it unlikely, but I applaud your attempts.
So like, you just look like your head's on fire. Cause like I can't really. I don't have my glasses on because the glare interferes with things. So I can only kind of vaguely see the viewfinder of the camera, and she's kind of like this amorphous blob. Like you do look like something out of Where the Dead Go to Die. With how blurry my vision is. But yeah, so this has been night 5 of the Christmas thing. I hope everyone's behaving themselves and opening their advent calendars and doing all their Christmas shopping and eating lots of sweets. I nearly bought some mince pies today at Tesco, but I didn't because you can only buy them in packs of 6 and they're like 200 calories each, and I'm not going to eat 6 of them. But then she doesn't like mince pies, so
my dislike of Christmas goes that far.
Mince pies are nice, but like I don't want to eat 6 of them. You know what I mean? Like 1 is okay. Maybe what I'll do is I'll buy a box right before Christmas and I'll eat 1, and then my sister-in-law is coming to visit us for the day. I think for notes taking and various other stuff, and so maybe I can voice them off on her and be like, "Here, you just kind of have 5 mince pies, please, friend."
I was at my parents earlier and they have mince pies, so I might be able to nick one for you.
Is it one of the ones with the frosting on the top?
No.
Oh, I like them best. Even though they're probably the worst for you, so just frosting on the top. But so that's been night 5 of the Christmas thing. We'll see you tomorrow. At the halfway point. Honey, you're almost there.
No, I'm not. But
Christmas.
but thank you for making me feel better.
Christmas.